I thought these parts were going to be tricky to make. Ugh, are they difficult. Welcome to Sisyphus Crane and Rigging. This is Mr. Bix, and wow, did I set myself up for some finicky little bits. The wheels weren't too bad. I made a quickie video on how I did those on the lathe, but after that it got hard. The first thing I started out with was probably the most difficult part. Why oh why did I pick the hardest part first? I'll talk about those wheels later. I went on to make the carriage gear case, and that's probably the trickiest part I've ever made on my mill. I designed it to be small and tapered, reduced the bulk of it so it wouldn't look so blocky. I'm at about the size limits that I want to be, although if it turns out too big, I think I'll try something even smaller, even more tricky. The carriage base has to hold the motor, the bearing, and the train car, as well as the trolley wheels. And the first one broke. It was too weak, and so I redesigned it a little bit and also decided to try to make the next one out of 7075 aluminum, which is stronger. And I planned out how I was going to hold it. I just took the part in the finished state and clamped it up into a virtual vise, a model of a vise in various configurations so I could more accurately machine it. And now I have a prototype. I also made the side frame and the other little parts needed to build the whole thing. I put it all together and tweaked it until I got it in some kind of a working state. And here's a build sequence. Speed it up, of course, but there it is, warts and all. With it so close, I was anxious to try it out and see about how it's going to work on the curved track. That's one of my major worries. So with wires attached, I gave it some power and woohoo! More on that, but I was happy to see something happened. The next big problem is coupling power to it. I can't have wires dangling, obviously. I had designed a contact idea so that the contact itself floats, it's spring-loaded against the contact rails. And you can see how it's supposed to work. It needs to maintain electrical contact whilst flexing and while that suspended trolley swings outward a little bit. So now that you can see that working, I've added some brass leaves for more spring action. But there's a problem. They can miss the rails sometimes. If they fall off, if they move to the side and fall off the strip edges, they get stuck on those edges, and that's a no-go. So I'm going to make some contacts with wider ends, and hopefully that will work. Lastly, I'll make these contacts out of phosphor bronze or cupronickel or something, and then possibly solder nickel wires on the rails for contact strips. Little tiny, skinny, thin little wires. I wanted to show the model of the pivoting wheel. The idea was that the rear wheel could pivot a little to stay aligned with the curved track. Since we've seen the thing go on the track already, this probably won't be needed. I'm hoping it won't, because it's pretty fussy to make that as well. That is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys again very, very soon. Later. Okay, sorry, that's not my line. That's from your Daily Dose of Internet. Check out the link below, and credits to that fine channel. As for me, that's the end, and thanks for watching. More updates on this particular build coming up, and when I get to a stopping point on this part, I'll go back to the Sisyphus crane, the eponymous. I've still got several parts to go for that. Okay, bye.